like to welcome all to this evening's regular board meeting of the Lakeview Public Schools Board of Education today, Tuesday, November 14, 2023, 7:30 p.m. at the boardroom at the Wheat Educational Campus. For the members this evening, Mr. Asha is out for personal reasons tonight. He will not be in attendance, and at our places for the personnel piece of the agenda, there's an update for us. Moving on to the minutes of the regular meeting of October 17, 2023.
Move for approval?
We have a motion by Mr. Bear, support by Ms. Taylor. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Public communication. Madam Secretary, have we any public communication this evening?
I do not.
Have we have any Board of Education Administration comments this evening? It's that time of the year again. I'd like to share with the public our sincerest hopes and wishes for a very happy, safe, and wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. It's that one time of year we can all sit back with our families and friends and reminisce about the things that we've been through and what we have, and just thank for being able to have the things we have and the friendships and families and the friends we have around us. So again, on behalf of the Board of Education, happy Thanksgiving to all the people in the Lakeview community and those in attendance this evening, administrators. Thanks. Anybody else? No. Administration, Mr. Paulson.
I'll echo your comments as it relates to the coming up seasons here. We've got a lot of food drives going on in the schools. I'm sure Ava will fill us in on some of that. The adopting of families for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. So we have a lot of events that I think are supporting those comments you made. I'd also like to offer the thanks to the community for supporting our non-homestead ballot election question. That's out now 20 years with the renewal of the 18 mill and the additional 3 mills to protect us against Headley override rollbacks. And I guess my last comment is to share our thanks with Kathy for Kathy Conan's service to the district. She's going to be leaving us before we have another board meeting on to bigger and better things, and we appreciate all the time she served and kept us on our straight and narrow with respect to district finances.
Anybody else?
Yep. I do want to say thank you to everyone. I've enjoyed being here for the last 7 years. It's bittersweet. I've enjoyed being part of the Lakeview family, and I hope to not lose the friendships. As we all like to kind of expand our career and so forth, I'm reaching for some expansion in mind. But I'm still here for everybody, and I would love to stay in touch with everybody, and I'm sure I'm only a phone call away. So I've appreciated working here for the last 7 years, and I'm going to miss everybody. So thank you all, and thank you, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving, too. Spend time with your family.
So is this your version of the 7-year itch, leaving Lakeview?
I guess. I guess. I
You will
guess.
be missed. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. I'm going to miss everybody.
Anyone else? All right, thank you. Student Representative Report, Ms. Pinter, good evening.
over 2,000 people to enjoy the festival. And thank you to the Princeton PTO. On Friday, November 3rd, Mr. Cade and Mrs. Donnelly spent the day and evening on the roof of Princeton as part of the student reward for the fun run. While on the roof, they were able to engage with the students and visitors during recess and throughout the day. At dismissal, Mr. Cade and Mrs. Donnelly had 30 pounds candy drop where they were throwing candy off the roof to the students below. They topped off the day with 2 bedtime stories live from the roof that were streamed on Facebook Live, and a beautiful chilly day with many memories. Next, they'll be duct taped to the wall and go into a modified duct tape, and they're looking forward to some more good times. As usual, the Princeton community will be assisting many families this year for the Thanksgiving and Christmas assistance. Princeton's construction is also still going, mostly punch list items and little things here and there. Interactive construction in the lower L classroom that is slated to begin this week, and they look forward to the written construction. Princeton wishes everyone a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Yesterday, they celebrated World Kindness Day. Students and staff wore messages encouraging kindness. Each student received a kindness bracelet as well. Everyone at Greenwood is looking forward to the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday and break, and would like to wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving. Also at Greenwood, parent-teacher conferences were well attended. Time spent meeting and partnering with families without the focus of a report card felt more genuine and still valuable. Greenwood's Harvest Fest included a trick or treat and was a huge success, and the weather was cooperative for all participants. Ardmore's Student Council and Green Team have been very busy. The Student Council has been sponsoring Spirit Days, with Backwards Clothes Day, holding bake sales, and are currently running a Thanksgiving holiday food drive. Green Team will be helping out with the upcoming tree planting and have recently held a fundraising Spirit Day. Students wore a hat to school to raise money to help adopt a zoo animal. Then at Jefferson, they honored their veterans with the annual Veterans Day breakfast. The JMS band and choir performed for the veterans, and all JMS students and staff lined the halls applauding them as they walked by the parade. Speeches were made by administration and students before the veterans, and then JMS family members shared a beautiful breakfast catered by the JMS kitchen staff. This year, they also added a photo wall where the veterans and their families were able to have their picture taken, and the main office printed the photographs for them as they ate breakfast. They were able to take them home that day. It was a wonderful event that was enjoyed by all that attended. And lastly, Lakeview Student Council conducted another successful blood drive on October 24th. Students, staff, and community participated in the event, which allowed us to collect much-needed life-saving blood for those in need. Huskies with Heart is also currently collecting canned food for Thanksgiving baskets. They look forward to providing families in need as Thanksgiving approaches. Also, on 11/21, 9th through 11th grade students will be taking a practice SAT test. The SAT test this year has changed to an online model, and we are looking forward to having the students experience the test prior to them seeing it in April. The Be Nice group at Lakeview has also established various dates for school-wide initiatives. Various classes have been visited, as well as presentations by Laura Purdy to educate students about the program. We look forward to seeing students and staff make a commitment to this initiative that will assist with the culture and climate of Lakeview. On November 30th, Johnson will also conduct a cap and gown assembly for the class of 2024, and the LHS staff, students, and administration would like to wish the board a restful Thanksgiving break. And that concludes everything.
Another busy share today. Good stuff. Lots of things going on across the district. Keeping everybody occupied. Great. Thank you very much. Anybody have any comments for our student rep tonight? No? Okay. Thank you. Bond project summary update.
At the October board meeting, the design and construction team reviewed anticipated costs and timelines for planned future projects with the board. Administration summarized items that were still desired, which ultimately would exceed the funding left in bond proceeds. Board members requested a written summary and a general timeline of the items discussed in October. Administration offers the attached summary as an outline, projected costs, and general timelines. Since October's meeting, we now have actual bid pricing for Bid Pack 10, which includes removal and replacement of the visitor stands, turf field track, and east parking lot at Lakeview High School. Fortunately, the bid pricing came in significantly below what Barton Mallow estimators had expected. We now open up the floor for any board questions or comments, and your summary sheet is behind your.
Questions, comments from the board?
Yeah,
Mr.
I
Miners?
just wanted to ask, why is it that it came in significantly below what had been estimated? Well,
Mike or Vicky, Madam.
I agree, but I don't want it to be too good to be true.
I will say, obviously, it's just an estimate. We really don't know anything until we get hard numbers. I know we did some finagling, we saved some significant money, lumping some packages together. That doesn't take place in our estimate, right? So we definitely, we review the numbers and the estimates and stuff like that, and we're able to significantly decrease the actual people.
Okay.
I think that when you makes reference to, first off, turf fields are not that common, and there's only 3 big vendors in the states that do those things. Well, one of the aspects of the, how can you work the bidding structure in such a way that you don't have the site contractor and the turf contractor both submitting bid bonds and, licensing and insurance, because the turf contractor will work under the site contractor. So there's small things they can do with the vendors in post bids to improve the overall numbers, and that, they may or may not go through that effort as a vendor independently, but once they get in the room and say, okay, what if, where would your costs go down? And they're able to say, oh, well, this is how it would go down. So when you do that with a couple of different trades and the combinations of things that are going together, it sometimes works out that way.
Good stuff. Any other comments?
So, and I'm looking at the attached summary that we have. So you mentioned capital projects, balances, and projections. If you add all those numbers up, comes to about 5.5 million. Out of the 3 lower line items that are 500, 2.5, and 1.5, how much of that is really is slated to come out of capital projects? Because some of the items say capital projects / bond. Is that known at all?
Well, the bond components of those are technology focused. I think I mentioned last time we had over $3 million of technology funding that was bond funds that were not initially going to be used for construction purposes.
Okay.
The timing of IRS arbitrage in February of '25 suggests we need to expend the bond funds before that time. And in light of that, basically the 1.5 million of technology equipment at the bottom of that list,
Yes.
most of that would have been replacing computing devices, which we would not do next spring.
Okay.
We bought them last year, maybe some because they fail, some battery issue, whatever, but we wouldn't anticipate we'd use all those funds from technology bond funds just to spend it on technology that doesn't need to be replaced yet. So that's kind of a pull ahead to construction, using those bond funds for construction purposes, not dedicating them because there was over 3 million of technology intended projects that won't happen before 2025 February. We really want them to be spent by December 2024. And so in light of that, one of the other things we did last year, we were going to save roofing projects to capital projects down the road. We chose, because it was necessary and we were doing the work at those sites, to do roofing at Ardmore and Princeton and put it in the bond expenses.
Okay.
Because they were bad enough, they were worthy of doing, and we're tearing up the sites, and we only have to do it once. We won't do it again, right after we finished renovating the buildings. So the trade-off, if you will, of what we thought we might do with capital projects, say 3 years from now, versus what we have to do with bond funds now, are sort of what this is trying to illustrate. if we do all the things we want to do that are necessary to do, probably there's almost $5 million worth of capital projects that would be expended by 25, 26. I have roofing of 500,000 on there at one line item. We did the worst of the roofs between the bond over the last 3 years. Jefferson, great big section for about 800,000. And then Ardmore and Princeton, big sections, about $500,000 each, somewhere in that ballpark. I put that line item in there. I don't know that we would use that in the next 2 to 3 years, but I didn't want to not at least illustrate it.
So if you look at the two bottom lines, it says capital projects / bonds. Do you have an estimation of which part of the 2.5 million is capital projects and which is bonds, and which part of the 1.5 is capital projects?
I'll give it my best guess based on the summary that we got from Scott Bruni in our email exchanges in our meetings.
I can take this one if you want. I know it's like the back of my hand.
Auditorium, sound, lighting.
Yeah. So the real easy way to look at it right now at this point in time is basically the roofing, as Mr. Paulson just mentioned, is in there, bid pack 11, and the tech equipment of 1.5. At this point in time, you could pretty much expect if things play out the way it looks now, that would all be capital projects. So the 1.5, as Mr. Paulson just mentioned, that originally was part of the bond, but that's a later thing. So we're basically moving, instead of doing the tech 1.5, we're doing it at the athletic field. So really, the bottom three at this point in time are capital projects. And then this piece at the top by bid pack 10 for the athletic field, the 1.1. Because the 3.25 is, we believe at this point in time, we could have 1.6, 1.7 to $2 million left in bond funds when things all settle. And again, that's at this point in time. Plus, if you move that 1.5, it's kind of a switch. Instead of spending on tech, we're going to spend on athletic. That gets you to about the 3.5. So that's about the 3,250. So really, the bid pack 10, 3,250 is what we think will be left over in bond money to cover. Rest would be capital projects.
So the breakdown here represents all of the bond monies allocated to the different projects. There's nothing left after that.
Correct. Bid pack 9 is part of bond, and that's the high school, the one level renovation opposed to the two. That was taken out a while ago, about a year ago. So, yeah.
But I think your question included what of the, if you look at bid pack 11, we have auditorium there. Some of that estimate is technology equipment, such as lighting controls, sound, video projection stuff that goes in, cameras that go in the auditorium renovation. So that's why it says capital projects and bond. Part of those things may in fact occur in summer of '24 or fall of '24.
And
Before we do something else that's bigger in the auditorium itself.
And not come out of capital projects.
Correct. Correct.
Anything else?
One thing to note, because this is my last meeting, and I guess I'll just share what's in my brain. We do use the capital projects fund for other things that are normal routine maintenance and things of that nature. Tech used to have things coming out of capital projects. Right now, with the 2.5 and the 2 million transfer, that'll be done this year. The board agrees to it, folks agree, and the projected million, that basically is earmarked for this stuff. So there needs to be a little cushion, in my opinion, left in capital projects, either increase the transfer or just know that those things will be charged to the general fund, which the general fund, the fund balance has become strong over the last several years. So that is a moving part, just to put it out there for folks for the future. I know we know, but I didn't know if you folks knew.
Well, I think we said it the last time, the original bond approval in 2019, when the Treasury application was completed, our initial, preliminary qualification documentation for the board's consideration was 65 million. The ultimate decision by the board in spring of 19 was to put that number at 54 million. So the things that are not covered, some of which we've been replacing all along, like compressors for air conditioning units at classroom level, Some cases, a closet HVAC system that's for our hardware for technology. You can't just wait and not replace it. You have to do the replacement. And so those things have been continuing to happen for the last 5 years out of general fund operational dollars. And in some cases where we can incorporate a rooftop unit in the bond project because we're doing the roof anyway, yes, we do. So sometimes the costs can, what first initially thought changes a little bit as the things of the real time sort of face you, right? Kind of like the roofing at Princeton and Ardmore. Why would we tear the site up twice, 3 years apart? We replace the roofs when we're doing the work. And yes, we're spending money that we thought we would be capital projects, but it's going to be bond right now. We know what we're dealing with down the road. That's one of the benefits of having a team that's been in place a while. People aren't figuring it out on the fly. We're working from some sort of a conscious plan. So we appreciate those questions for sure.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, since we're on the topic of bond and non-action item here, just general discussion, I had pointed out to Mr. Paulson and Mr. Zaborowski, well, I brought it up at the last meeting, actually, the facade, for example, at Ardmore, where the blue band going across the top of the new construction was, in my eyes, incomplete. And at the time, we were told that it would be complete by the end of the month. When we get into the first week of November, I drive around Louise and go north on Greater Mecca, I look at it, it's still not done. So I then reached out to Mr. Paulson and Mr. Zaborowski, and, it doesn't look like it's done yet. Well, as it turns out, apparently, according to spec, it is done. And when you're driving by and you look at it, you see this beautiful blue facade, and then it stops at the front of the building, and you see quite a few feet down the side, and it looks like incomplete roofing, and it looks very incomplete. So I posed the question, is this really done or not done? And Mr. Paulson was going to address it with the architects and Bart Mallow folks and see what
Yes,
this is
and
all about.
the answer was it is to spec, and the architects have indicated they agree that it's not acceptable. They're looking at an option, or looking at alternatives to make it better, appear more complete. Even though it's functionally correct and proper and we're not going to get roof leaks or something, the nature of the view looking like it's not complete is up to a new design idea. Well, not new so much.
We agree. We stopped it, and I think I know why we did, but it wasn't for a very good reason. So we have a couple options to extend it. If we extend those blue panels, they are a long lead time, so we're looking at other materials that will match that look and still perform as good as that. And so we've got a contractor still on board, under contract to extend it on both schools, and we're making sure at Harmon that that's also not occurring.
Okay. And I guess this is more or less of a punch list item, some of the gates, et cetera. Is that something that's going to be addressed separately? Like Ardmore along Louise, there was the gates there that closed off the play field from Louise Street. Those gates are gone. Are those all planning to be replaced, or are they going to leave it wide open?
The double gates where they would have come in to do
Yard work?
yard work stuff?
Yep, landscape.
Yeah, they should be replaced.
Okay. Is that part of the bond, or is that just,
We took it out as part of the bond because we needed an access where the kids could get dropped because of that, where they had their single gate.
Right.
So it's just basically shifting that double gate down a little bit further along Louise would be to the west, I guess.
okay, yeah, because there's temporary fencing, it looks like
Yep.
it's up there as well. Okay. Any questions, comments? Thank you. Moving on to general item A, first reading, board policy and administrative regulation revisions, 2,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, and 8,000.
This is first reading of policies and administrative regulation revisions for for policies 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, and 8,000 is provided by Miller Johnson on their policy consultant. I think the subcommittee members went through this page by page to hear the highlights of why we have things X'd off and why things might have the word no next to them, and then other things have the word yes. And then you see my other notes about board evaluation training and, some other things that are in there. One section I will point out, the spot where it says old, it says page 13, and then right behind it, you see some paragraphs that are Xed, because those are sort of one version of it that got changed in the last month or two by the policy consultant. But outside of that, unless there are specific questions that are of interest to discuss further, there's no action tonight, but
Questions from the board? Comments? None of the
wouldn't,
above?
I wouldn't call any of this riveting or controversial.
Nope. Okay, moving on to the agenda with personnel. Item 8, changes in personnel at our places this evening was an updated action item.
Tonight, administration is bringing forward the following changes in personnel since the last presentation to the Board of Education on October 17th. New hires, Carolyn Samansky, Sarah Hansen, Jefferson Middle School Special Education Teacher, Sarah Mattarella, Jefferson Middle School Special Education Teacher, Lynn Burley, Jefferson Middle School Special Education Teacher, Jason Mahalik, Lakeview High School Teacher, Dylan McNamara, Lakeview Public Schools Technology Specialist, Jamie Prong, Princeton Elementary School Paraprofessional. Elementary Learning Loss Tutoring Teachers as listed. Secondary Learning Loss Teachers, Tutoring Teachers as listed. Lakeview High School 9th through 12th grade France-Spain trip 2023-24 sponsors, James Donahue and Nick Guaz. Jefferson Middle School 8th grade Washington trip, Catherine Short and Jessica Wise as trip chaperones bus supervisors. Resignations as listed. Winter Sports Athletic Co-Coordinators, John Carr and Patrick Threet. Schedule B returning coach sponsors as listed. Schedule B new coach sponsors for the 23-24 year, Lauren Wynn, Lakeview High School basketball girls 9th grade coach, Zachary Carr, Lakeview High School basketball boys 9th grade coach, Lakers ice hockey tri-district, Nicholas Rajewski, St. Clair Shores Lakers ice hockey varsity coach, Chad Hammer, St. Clair Shores Lakers ice hockey assistant coach. Those are both for the boys team.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the changes in personnel as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bear, support by Mr. Miners. Discussion on the motion.
Yes, I've got a question. We've had, last meeting, we had 4 special education teachers leave, and this month, we've got quite a few more. What's going on in the special education department that, we can't retain those people?
So the situation with staffing around the state is there is a special ed teacher shortage. So there are more spots and hiring opportunities for folks. And the reality is that new districts who are able to hire are able to do things like signing bonuses and put them at higher rates. Once we have people who are on board, we are engaged in collective bargaining agreements that do not allow us to do different things off that once they're hired in. And so other districts are doing some aggressive, I will say headhunting, that is the reality of it, and they are doing things of offering money. And so for many people, they are utilizing those opportunities to make more money on the start, so.
But there seems to be a shortage of teachers across the board. Why is it specifically the special education teachers?
Special education teachers have the highest shortage area, more than any other area, and other districts are offering money. There's more opportunities for a special education teacher to go and walk out and take another job in any other district. They have multiple opportunities. It is an employee market, not an employer market, unfortunately. That's the position we're in, as well as other districts. And if we were to go and pull the stats, you're going to see across the state and across the country the number of unfilled spots in special education areas.
These positions you see here, in Michigan, there's probably 150 open jobs right now, posted across the state, special ed jobs. It's just a crazy time.
Okay.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Have we any of the new hires here this evening?
We do, and we have some really great new hires, so I want them to be happy about coming and joining our staff because we have lots of great things to offer here. So I'm going to start off with the first person, Sean Hansen's here. So Sean, if you wouldn't mind standing up, I'll tell you a little bit about Sean. Sean's coming to us. He's most recently worked in Warren Con as a special education teacher, but he comes with a lot of experience. He has over 15 years of special education teacher placement. He has a bachelor's degree in special education from Wayne State and a master's also from Wayne State. And we know that he's bringing all that expertise here and is going to be a great addition for our team. So welcome. And next, we have Sarah Mattarella. So Sarah is here. Sarah comes to us from also another Macomb County district. She's coming with lots of great experience. She's worked as a resource room teacher. And before that, she was actually a special education paraprofessional. So she chose that she wanted to go and finish that degree so that she could work as a teacher. She's very committed to those students in receiving special education services. She has an associate's degree from Macomb Community College. She has a bachelor's degree from Wayne State with her cognitive impairment endorsement. And then she went back for her master's also from Wayne and has an endorsement in autism spectrum disorder. So she also comes with us to us with lots of skills, and we are thrilled to have you here. So thank you. Next, we have Lynn. So Lynn Burley, would you stand up? Lynn is coming to us also in special education. So you can see that we're losing people or we're also gaining people, and those districts are having the same struggles that we are. We're finding it very fortunate that we're pulling folks to us. So Lynn, we're happy to have you here. Lynn's coming. She has her associate's degree in science from Schoolcraft College. She has her bachelor's degree from Michigan State with an elementary education focus. And then she went back for her Master's of Arts from Saginaw Valley, and she has a specialization in early childhood. And then also went back to Saginaw Valley to get her special education endorsement in learning disabilities. So Lynn's coming with that range and that knowledge of students from early childhood all the way through high school, which has been her most recent placement. So we're thrilled to have you, and we know that you're going to bring all of that and really benefit our students and our staff here. So thank you for choosing to join us. And Lynn, you did bring a guest. Would you like to introduce your guest?
My guest is my husband, David Burley, and he's very supportive and is a great asset in keeping me, so I'm
Can come and do. Yes, we appreciate those people that help support all of you, so, and thanks for coming. We also have Jason Mahalik is here, so if Jason would stand up. Jason is joining us. His bachelor's degree is from Ferris State University, and his master's degree is from Saginaw Valley. He has also worked in a neighboring district, and as you say, why are people going? I'm afraid to go out to my car because we're hiring people from some of the same districts, and I'm afraid their supervisors are going to be out there waiting for me, but I'll take it. I'll fight for you guys. So we're glad to have you, and Jason also has coaching experience, so that is another thing that we were thrilled to see when he came through the process, because he has that dimension, and we always know that we're oftentimes looking for coaches, and having some of our staff who are teaching here and then also coaching is always a great thing. So I hope he watches our postings for some of those that become available. So Jason, thank you. And last but not least with us this evening is Dylan. Dylan, if you wouldn't mind standing up. Dylan is not joining us in our teaching ranks, but he is joining us in our tech department, and we couldn't be happier. He's coming to us with experience. He has his associate in science degree in information technology from Pittsburgh Technical Institute, and he's currently working on classes and his next degree. His focus has been oftentimes in the network administration, but he has worked in Grosse Pointe schools as their system technician, but then has had a couple of help desk positions with other technology companies, and we know that that's going to be a real asset, because part of his role is really going to be helping that end user out in our buildings, whether that be students or staff or even parents who are hopping on to Schoology or Power School. So Dylan, we couldn't be happier to have you, and everyone's counting down. You know, Mark's probably in the hallway ready to tackle you because he can't wait till you get here. So welcome. And those are all of our guests tonight.
Well, welcome to all of the new hires here this evening, and all the best to you with us here in the Lakeview community. Thank you. Moving on to curriculum, item A, Jefferson Middle School T2R to advisory change.
I don't want to sidetrack us, but we did have one new hire that was in the lobby. I heard him barking a little bit.
Oh.
Came to us in October, but because the board met Gator in the beginning of the August time window, but now we also have Milo out there in the lobby, so.
He's probably chasing his ball out there. He's so cute.
One of our canine teams.
Hello.
And Dawn wasn't here in August.
This is Milo. He'll be 14 months old, November 19th. And he's a yellow Labrador Retriever. He searches for explosives and firearms. And he does his detection work very, very well.
He's looking for something else, too.
Yeah, he's looking for his joy, so he's just really excitable. This is usually his nap time. I think he's a big hit with all the schools. I expect to see a lot of principals in here, and okay, Milo. I know the staff and students, have loved him so far. So. Usually he's not this noisy. Gator is the other one who used to be pretty noisy, but so.
Thank you, Dawn.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry.
That was a good little serotonin boost.
There you go, yep. Cool. No more surprises?
All right, Jefferson Middle School is proposing a change to their daily schedule. The current T2R course would be renamed to advisory and move from the end of the school day to the beginning of the school day. Moving it to the start of the day will allow students to take better advantage of this time because they'll come into the class well rested. The name change is being proposed to better reflect the multitude of activities available during this time, including academic support from teachers, collaborating with peers, academic interventions, etc. The advisory course will be offered starting in the 24-25 school year for all grades. This proposal is being brought forward this evening after receiving the support of the Jefferson Middle School Building School Improvement Committee, the District School Improvement Committee, and then the Board of Education Curriculum Subcommittee.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the T2R to advisory course change for Jefferson Middle School to begin in fall of 2024. Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Taylor, support by Ms. Martin. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Lakeview High School English 4 Choice Literature Materials.
The high school K-12 ELA committee established a goal to create a building-wide culture of reading. Student surveys show high levels of engagement and interest when they are able to select their own reading materials. Several high school teachers piloted choice units and students responded with overwhelmingly positive feedback. They enjoy being able to select text that matters to them on a personal level. The LHS English Committee is proposing the purchase of 40 copies each of the following 6 novels: American Street, The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, There, All My Rage, You Bring the Distant Near, and The Magic Fish. These choice materials will be offered starting in the second card marking of the current 23-24 school year in all sections of English 4. The total cost for these hardcover novels is $3,918. This proposal is being brought forward this evening after receiving the support of the Lakeview High School Building School Improvement Committee, the District School Improvement Committee, and the Board of Education Curriculum Subcommittee.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the purchase of the proposed 6 novels as English 4 choice literature materials to be incorporated into the curriculum starting in the second card marking of the current 2023-24 school year. Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Taylor, support by Ms. Martin. Discussion on the motion.
I just want to say that the people that worked on this really put thought into it. I just think that it's a really nice thing that they put together, and I think that we're going to have a lot of kids interested in all the different aspects of reading, and it gives them a lot of different choices. I think it's a really great program.
Perfect. Any other comments? Ms.
Yes,
Martin?
I was involved in the subcommittee that talked about this, and I was just so excited about this program, and I was so proud because the teachers involved were so passionate about their subject and the programs. Just it's great.
Passion goes a long way.
I would just echo both of the statements because I was in the subcommittee meeting as well. And as Ms. Taylor said, these teachers spent a lot of time and money on developing, texts and finding texts that are, expanding interest beyond what students typically know as like the high school English curriculum. So, it was great to see that passion, and I think it's from the sounds of it, is a much needed, way of kind of piquing interest and engagement. So, yeah, much appreciated.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Good stuff. Moving on to bond, item A, bid pack number 10, Lakeview High School Stadium and Parking Lot.
Tonight, administration is recommending award of contractors for bid package number 10 related to renovations to the Lakeview High School Stadium and East Parking Lot, which is to be funded from the 2022 Bond Fund Series 2 and the Capital Projects Fund. Starting in October, this bid package was advertised and bidders were solicited as law and district policy requires. Ultimately, 36 bid proposals were submitted in a variety of categories on November 7th when they were publicly opened and read aloud. Barton Mallow Builders, with the assistance of partners in architecture and administration, evaluated the proposals and conducted post-bid reviews with the apparent low bidders, and in some cases, the second apparent low bid. Both Barton Mallow Company and partners in architecture attended the interviews, and the following contractors are being recommended for award in the total amount of $4,133,163. And representatives from Barton Mallow and partners in architecture are here tonight to answer any questions the board may have.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the bid award amount totaling $4,133,163 for the renovations to the Lakeview High School athletic field and parking lot as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bear, support by Ms. Martin. Discussion on the motion.
I had a question, but Mr. Barrett was quick on the draw, so I wasn't able to ask it before he made the motion. I just wanted to ask about the bleachers. Is it both sides of the field? I can't remember what the.
No,
It's just
it's only the 11-mile side.
only 11 mile?
Yep.
So the,
That's going to be the home side.
that's going to be the home.
New bleacher, new press box on the 11-mile side. Basically, light pole to light pole. I mean, it's going to be a little shorter than that, but that's kind of the area where the bleachers are going to be.
And remind me where the light poles are?
What's that? If you just go out and look at them. That's, I mean, when you look at the field, you'll see.
End to end is what you're saying?
No, it's, yeah, it's about the 25, between the 25 and the 30. It's about
You're
that.
talking about the floodlights. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about, okay.
No, yeah, it's the light. So there's the two light poles.
No, the field lights.
I got you.
I wasn't processing it. Makes sense. Okay.
What is the capacity of those new bleachers?
About 1,800, roughly. Just under 1,800.
1675.
1675, there we go.
Approximately.
And we're going to fill every one of them?
Now, is that?
We will now have a.
Normal size seating, or is that U of M seating?
No, we will have a spot to be able to put everybody, hopefully, in the bleachers during games.
Do we have to move the long jump to accommodate that?
Yes, the, part of this, if you read the bid letter, the award letter, it says Jefferson work. We're relocating the shot and disc over to Jefferson Middle School. I talked to Coach Cheney about that. He's supported that 100%. It's going to be a little safer for our, discus throwers to throw in an area where there's not kids running across, and so he was in support of moving it over there. So that's where it's going to be relocated.
So we'll go from 180 visitor seats to 800 or whatever the
Yeah.
current home side seating is.
70-something.
And hopefully be able to eliminate all of that fence line and tot lot stuff to say you need to go sit in a seat.
Yep.
And improve safety and management of issues and whatnot.
Band's going to be, the plan is, at least my plan is, band is off the track in the stands where they belong, student section, close to the band where they belong. So it's going to be a very nice addition.
Now, I've asked this question before, and I'm going to ask it one last time. This will be ready for opening day kickoff, 2024. Okay. Please.
I mean, the spirit of this is a bleacher PO tomorrow because that's the long lead item. Send us a deposit and we'll start building your bleachers. Kind of, that's the attitude when you get in the queue. So that's why our timing is early, maybe a little earlier.
We've already started discussions on, can they work in February? And the answer is yes. So depending on demo lead time, like Mr. Paulson said, getting in the queue, we may be able to demo the press box and some of that stuff on that side of the field. It would take some coordination as far as being able to utilize the scoreboard during and the, potentially not having a sound system during the early part of the spring before we shut the field down. But that might be an option we may have to do. So we've already talked about that, to be able to get those things, because the coordination is, the track is going to be the last thing that we do. Everything's going to be wrapped up and the track finishes and pulls out, and that way we don't drive anything over the track when they're done. We had that conversation this afternoon with the track folks, so.
Now, were there core samples taken out of the track to make sure that it meets today's standards, as we got burned on it before when we sold that property and moved everything down and we got burned when we decided to renovate it, 2007?
Yeah, it was.
They had to go umpteen feet down to tear all the grade out.
The plan right now is it's just the mill and cap, right?
Take about an inch and a half off the top of the asphalt,
Okay,
mill it off, maybe machine like they do for the roads, take that off, cap it with brand new virgin asphalt, so the track will sit on there.
okay, so everything below that is still good.
Yes.
It is, I can't guarantee there's not a couple spots where we're gonna, as we take that track surface off, where we might have to patch some areas.
All right, well, it's like when they do roads, they tear the asphalt off, they find some degradation underneath, they cut it out, replace it, and then re-asphalt it, so.
It's got a good stone base from '09 when the track was put in, so.
09, okay. Awesome. Thank you. Any other questions, comments from the board?
Well, I will just offer the parking lot on the east end isn't going to be completed in summer of '24 because we're going to be working on the addition in the back parking lot area. So when all the work on the east end is done, then the parking lot will be done. And that may end up being in the spring of '25. That's part of the reason for the shuffle and adjusting of what funds to use.
Do I have to qualify my question now? Being done. We'll be able to use the field
The
for.
field will be open, but the parking lot might be
Parking
in
lot
a
will still be
little rough
functional.
shape.
It will be functional.
All right.
Sorry, one last question.
Sure.
Was there a final decision on the color? of
Gray.
the turf?
Comments?
I hope that everyone heard that.
They did. Gray with blue end zones.
Is that light gray or dark gray?
No, we took it away. It's a lighter gray.
Okay, got that one.
It's still gray.
It's lighter than, I think it's lighter than that gray that might be sitting there. It's a different company, but
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Now we move on to other. Under other, request for closed session, student request to return to Lakeview Public Schools from prior discipline record.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the request for closed session to consider the readmission hearing prior discipline for student 2022/23 JB.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bear, support by Ms. Martin. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bear?
Aye.
Ms. Martin? Aye. Mr. Miners?
Aye.
Mr. Asha was absent. Ms. Taylor? Aye. Mr. Miskelly?
Aye.
Mr. Dombrowski?
Aye. Okay, what does this mean? We are going to go into a brief recess here. It's 8:23 now. We will reconvene in the boardroom at 8:30. I ask that the board members, administration, and the family of the student involved, the legal guardians, be in the boardroom at 8:30 for action. Also, action, if any, will not be televised over the internet. We're going to shut that down as we go into recess, because this is a closed session and it is in confidence. It's not public session. Any action taken afterwards will be in open session, so if somebody wants to see the results, they can come in after the closed session is over and hear what the results are from the board, if any. Thank you. 8:24 is recess, actually.
Thank you. I have an item for you to sign.